So guess what? If you have two different groups and you tell each group to solve the same problem, but you tell the second group to be creative, even if it's just an afterthought on the way out the door, guess what? Research has demonstrated that that second group will come up with more innovative and creative solutions to the same problem. So magicians, clowns, jugglers, variety artists, be creative! Got my key light, got my fill light, got my background lights on the curtains, I'm ready to go. I'm Brian Foley from Valley Variety in Phoenix, Arizona, technically a suburb of Phoenix, Arizona. You can find me at vvphx.com. I'm also here on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok. I'm getting too old for some of this. Not only have I been a professional variety artist for 31 years, but I'm also a college professor. I'm going to teach you some of the things that I've learned about creativity and innovation and how you can apply them to your work. Let's get going. The first thing we're going to talk about is this great video series, or you can watch the whole thing on one video, called Everything is a Remix by Kirby Ferguson. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't, but it's definitely worth a little bit of your time. It's under an hour long, and it talks about, it was made in the early 21st century, and it looks at the 21st century's perspective on creativity and innovation, especially in terms of art. And that's what we do. We make art. So check it out. Some of the three takeaways from Kirby Ferguson's Everything is a Remix are copy, combine, and transform. Now, I'm talking to magicians mostly right now, and guess what? Magicians, we're really good at copying. So I'm not going to say anything else about that. Let's talk about combining and transforming. So in terms of that tool, combine. Basically, take what you're doing and mix it with or combine it with something else. You know, like maybe a new piece of music, or combine 2 or 3 tricks together to create a new routine. Combine it with another performance discipline, you know? Sing a song, play an instrument, hang from your ankles, stand on your head, do a little tap dance, whatever you know how to do, right? Bring something else to it. Well, what are your other hobbies? Are you a sports fan? Are you into comic books? Do you like movies or music? Do you like to cook? You know? So just bring in the other things that you know and combine it with what you're already doing. That's combine. So we have copy, combine, and transform. This last one is transform. And to talk about transform, I'm going to bring in our second big learning objective for today, which is morphological synthesis.
Everybody say it with me. Morphological synthesis. Ha ha!
Morphological synthesis is a problem-solving approach that was developed by Fritz Zwicky in the early to mid-20th century. Fritz Zwicky, he was a Swiss astrophysicist, and he was working at Caltech. Now, you can look this up, morphological synthesis. It's all public domain information. This is not coming from me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to summarize it in a very simplistic way, in a way that I found works great for artists, especially artists like us. Step 1 of morphological synthesis is what is called attribute listing. Attribute listing. So let's do attribute listing of my sponge ball routine. In my last video, I talked about a sponge ball routine that I used to do. So let's talk about my old sponge ball routine, right? What are all the components of that routine? Well, what are my props? I have 4 red 2-inch Goshman Super Soft sponge balls. All right. I also use my pants pockets. I would get one audience member out of the audience. I would use their hand, and I would use a combination of scripted and rehearsed monologue and extemporaneous dialogue with the audience member that I get up. So those are all the elements. I talk about all the props, the color, the size, the shape, anybody else that's involved, what the sound is, you know, what am I wearing, etc. You make a list of all the individual attributes of whatever it is you want to work on. Step 2 to morphological synthesis is you're going to morph all of those different attributes. This is the transformation part that we're talking about from the Kirby Ferguson, right? So let's talk about the props. Well, if we're talking about a sponge ball has a shape. It's a sphere. What other kinds of shapes could we use for this problem? We're just dealing with shape right now, nothing else. Nothing else, just shape. Well, how many other shapes can you come up with? Make a list of at least like 100 different shapes. Make a list of 100 shapes. Then in terms of material, right? There's that Gashman super soft material. But don't even worry about what's good at this point. Just make a list of at least, 20 different materials. All right, different, literally, what is it made out of? You can think texture or ingredients, right? And then think about all the different colors. Think about all the different sizes. Think about different numbers. Why 4? Why not 2? Why not 17? Why not 36, right? So make a list of all the different attributes, and then for each attribute, come up with as many as you can. Here are some other examples. Instead of pockets, I just need some kind of container. So 50 other containers. Boxes, bags, sure. But how about the mouth of the wolf? That's a container. How about a star destroyer? How about some kind of magical box that can do another trick and lead me into another routine, or I can combine that in a new way, right? What about Velcro clothing? What about if everything I'm wearing is hooks and everything that I'm using is fluff? So everything attaches and I can just peel and take what I need. What about a whole wall of hooks with tiny little bags hanging on them? So I can drop things into bags and that becomes part of the routine. I don't know. Use your imagination. What else can we morph? How many audience members do we bring up, right? The assumption is that, that our audience member is human. What if it's not human? What if it's a dog? What if it's a hamster? What if it's a horse? What if it's an effluent? What if it's a robot? What if it's a Roomba? What if it's a deck of cards? What if it's a puppet, right? How about 2? How about 5? How about 10 of them? How about the entire audience? Do the routine with the entire audience. Why the hand? Why are you putting it in your audience member's hand? Put it in their ear. Put it in their mouth. Put it in their pocket. Put it in their purse. Put it in their feed bag, right? 1,000 ideas. Make a list of 1,000 ideas. Go back and then see if any of these ideas provoke new ideas for any of your previous attributes. We can't forget about sound, okay? Sound. Are you going to use live music? Are you going to use recorded music? Are you going to use music that you make with an instrument? Music that you make with your mouth or your body? Are you going to use a band? Are you going to use a single musician? Are you going to use the music that an audience member makes? How about non-musical sounds? Right? Monologue, dialogue, other languages. Every single word that you use can be replaced with another word. What if it's no sound? What if it's silent? So you come up with that massive list and you got all the different options, right, for every single one of those attributes. Now it's time for part 3, which is synthesis, the synthesis part of morphological synthesis. Now this works best as an iterative process, right? You make a single iteration, commit to it, test it to some degree, and see if it works. And then if it doesn't work, throw it away, try a new one, all right? So that's an iterative process. This is where we start to mix and match all of our ideas from all our different lists. Now, even if you've come up for only 10 ideas for each of the attributes that I talked about, or the attributes that I see possible with that routine, guess what? That's 100 trillion possible combinations.
100 trillion possible combinations.
Gosh, man.
Well, how do you know which one of those 100 trillion possibilities is right for you? Well, how much do you charge? How long do you have to set up? Who's in your audience? How big is your vehicle? These are all valid concerns. But artistically, what is the guiding vision for your show? My show, the one that's for adults and for family audiences, has a guiding vision. Here's what it is. It's 1950. Channing Pollock is double booked for 2 nightclub gigs at opposite ends of town. He calls Pee Wee Herman, tosses him some music and a box of classic magic tricks and says, "Hey, you're on in 10 minutes. So, Pee Wee Herman trying to get through Channing Pollock's nightclub act in 1950, that's my show. There are so many ways to find a guiding vision. You can talk about theme or a sub-discipline of your art. Musicians do that all the time with albums. Talk about character, an imaginary location. But find a guiding vision. Some people really value cohesion in art. With that guiding vision, I know exactly what's right for my show, what's not right for my show, and when I'm in the moment, I know exactly what choices to make to ensure that my show remains my show. You hear the garbage truck? It's right outside. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Crunch, 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 crunch. I forgot to take the garbage out!
If this happens during a streaming show, if you can hear something outside, I respond to it, I try and turn it into a joke.
So we talked about copy, combine, and transform from Kirby Ferguson's Everything is a Remix. Check that out. Also, Morphological Synthesis, and we talked about a guiding vision. If any of this is useful to you, hey, let me know. Put it in the comments or send me an email. So I hope you folks are well, stay healthy, stay safe, and I've been giving some thought to what I want to talk about next week, and I have a plan. But if you've enjoyed what you heard, check out the whole playlist. It's called A Variety Artist on my Valley Variety YouTube page. You folks take care. I'll see you later. Bye.